The what?
So addicting. I got the individual bags and then that's just financially
Hello everybody, happy Tuesday. Welcome to some Chair League action tonight. Got 3 games for you. First one is a Division 3 game. It will be Admiral Ackbar versus HMS Tigers. Thank you everybody for tuning in. And both teams currently in lobby and ready to go. And it looks like our first game will be on Blackheart's Bay. That's exciting. We don't get to see too much Blackheart's Bay here in Chair League. Our first team, Admiral Ackbar, will have first pick, first ban. They are currently sitting at 1-2 on the season, while the HMS Tigers are 0-1, looking for their first win in Chair League. But both teams also, this is their first season in Chair League, starting in Division 3. Here in Chair League's Season 4. Alright, so we are in the lobby, just told... Wait, what? We're just setting up the draft here. Just making sure that all of our all right, now we got the right the right type of draft set up. Looks like we will be going here in just 1 second. If there's anybody in the chat room, please let me know my volume levels. Traditionally, that is the issue that I have, is not getting the volume quite right, so we want to be able to hear the game, of course, but also hear me speak all of the ridiculousness that I will during the cast. So we have Admiral Ackbar. It looks like they will be promptly banning out Ragnaros for their first ban. It's pretty common to see Ragnaros banned early. However, on Blackheart's Bay, I don't think he has as much value because there's no objective to push, and Admiral Ackbar agrees with me and has opted to change their first ban to Artanis. Artanis pretty prominent in the meta right now. With his long-distance swap, he can really start a fight out with a pick and get his team on 5-on-4 footing even before the fight really gets going. He can definitely be a hassle to deal with if that Artanis player is on point with his swaps. Admiral Ackbar doesn't want to deal with that, and they opt to remove him from this game. Now we have the MHS Tigers, and they do ban the Ragnaros, despite the fact that I think Blackhearts is not one of his stronger maps. The Sulfurous Smash does a ton of damage if you can land it or set it up. Also, if they opt to go Lava Wave on a larger map, it can put pressure on the various lanes that you send it down. So Ragnaros and Artanis will not be participating in this particular battle. Our first set today is a best of 1, so whoever takes this game will take the set. In Chair League, we can either have best of 1s, or one game, or best of 3, depending on the team's preferences. So our first game today, this one, will be a 1-game set. Our second game will be a 1-game set, and then our final series of the evening will be a best of 3. First pick, Admiral Ackbar, they take Zul. I really like that pick. Zul can soak both of the top lanes by himself. His biggest strength is how quickly he clears the lanes and that he can put added pressure on the lanes that he kills with his skeletal summons. So by putting Zul in the top lane, as long as that Zul player is careful and he soaks both lanes safely without getting picked off, it allows his team the freedom to move all over the map. You can put 4 men in the bottom lane to pressure. You can get mercs. Whatever it is that you want to do, he really frees you up to do all kinds of different things. The HMS Tigers respond with a Malfurion and a Varian, both of which got hit with a little bit of a nerf bat this week. And both still very good, although Varian no longer has his point-and-click stun. It is now a point-and-click really long slow. And Malfurion's don't root for quite as long as they used to. However, both heroes still very good, and I don't think Malf in particular is not going anywhere. Varian might fall out of the meta just a little bit more than he was before because that point-and-click stun was so good. Admiral Ackbar opts to select their healer in Rhaegar and their main tank in ETC. ETC has 2 very viable heroics in Mosh Pit and Stage Dive. Either one can be used, both to great effect. Rhaegar is one of the probably second-tier heroes, I would say, right behind Malf and probably Lucio, but he's still very good. And he is another hero who has 2 perfectly viable ultimates, depending on the comp that you put around him. With Bloodlust, if you have some auto attackers that you want to make that much more potent, or Ancestral Healing if you just want that one massive heal to get one of your teammates out of some trouble. Either one are perfectly viable. The Tigers responding with a Thrall. And it looks like Admiral Ackbar will take Gul'dan out of the mix here. If that's something they choose to do, and they do, I really like that ban. Gul'dan is one of the heroes that can pretend to keep up with Zul in the wave clear department, so he could have tried to match Zul with that double wave soak because Zul's wave clear is excellent. So taking him off the board is not a bad idea, and now we have an ultra aggressive comp being constructed here by the Tigers, taking Zarya and the Butcher. So using Varian and Butcher and Malf to lock somebody down for Butcher to blow them up. It looks like the plan here. And they're going to need to do that because right now their wave clear is a little bit light. And that's something I think that they'll have to address with their last selection as somebody they want to put to help compensate for the rest of their team's lack of wave clear. Butcher, too, also in the early game, really needs to focus on farming those meat stacks because Butcher's early game is not as strong as you'd like it. However, once he gets that glowing golden Butcher's cleaver, he becomes an absolute monster. So the Butcher player, you want to focus on those meat stacks early to make sure you get that late game beast. And now we have a Sergeant Hammer Falstad for Admiral Ackbar. So they have the potential for double globals, and they can have Hammer pushing in the bottom while Zul pushes in the top. Depending on who the Tigers select here, and then they have a Chromie. So the blow-up potential is absolutely there on the side of the Tigers, and the map control and the wave clear on the side of Admiral Ackbar. So whichever team executes their comps better will certainly have the advantage here. If the Tigers can get picks, especially on Zul, if they can pick off that Zul double soaking, that's going to be a big win for them. However, if Admiral Ackbar can stay out of getting somebody blown up, the map control that they have, I think, will be to their advantage for sure. And we're almost definitely going to, well, maybe not with Hammer and Falstad, I suppose. I was going to say, I think we're going to see Ancestral Heal out of Rhaegar. That's what I would like to see, to maybe if you can be quick draw McGraw and pull that Ancestral out at whoever the Tigers are targeting, you might be able to save their blow-up target, because Variant Taunt, Butcher, Stun, Lamb to the Slaughter, Roots, Chromie, Temporal Loop, all of those things are targeted around grabbing one of these heroes and just decimating them. So Admiral Ackbar needs to be very careful, and the Tigers need to be very careful of not falling behind in the control of the map. If that's something that happens to them, I don't think they have the wave clear to recover from that. So interesting, two very different compositions and two very contrasting styles selected here by both teams. And these are the games that are fun to cast, where you have two conflicting styles like this to see which of these teams will execute better and which of these styles of draft might come along better. So for the blue team here is Admiral Ackbar. We have Hypocrisy on ETC, Danger Sash on Rhaegar, Hidalgo on Falstad, Drew Dog on Sergeant Hammer, and Iron Bank on Zul. The red team, the HMS Tigers, we have Warsub on Kroby, Pepin the Tall on Varian, Garchomp Chum on Malfurion, Blob on Zarya, and Feelmeister on the Butcher. Usually you see both teams head for the Vision here and skirmish over it. Admiral Ackbar having none of that. They are immediately sending Rhaegar and Hammer and ETC to the bottom lane to put pressure on this bottom keep here. And without response, Hammer will get this tower. MHS Tigers are sending a response. It's a little bit slow, and ETC and Rhaegar are there to intercept it. Sergeant Hammer is going to get this first tower. Boom, there it goes. We're about 5 seconds away from... There's the Chromie response, dropping a lot of damage onto Hammer, though. He is not leaving yet, and there he goes, finally leaving. So they are able to sneak a tower. Right as the chests are spawning Zul and Falstad in this top lane, they're going to be opposed by Zarya and Butcher. Nobody going for the chest quite yet, though, and there we go. Falstad on the chest, doing what he can. Rhaegar is going to come up and help. And there's the charge, false charge, a little fake out there from Frielmeister on the Butcher. And all 10 of the coins picked up by Admiral Ackbar. Falstad needs to be careful, though. He was a little far forward there. Hidalgo realized and quickly backed up. So there's the Zool double soak. You can already see Iron Bank doing it. As long as he does it safely, Admiral Ackbar will be able to control these top lanes. If they can get their hands on this vision here, that's going to be huge for them. But I like the pathing that Iron Bank is taking, really going the safe way. In the meantime, ETC in the bottom lane is trying to do everything he can just to keep Sergeant Hammer safe, and the Tigers under a lot of pressure. They have Zool being pressured in the top, Hammer pressuring in the bottom, and so far they do not have an answer for it. And they've lost all 10 of the coins. There's the Hammer damage onto, I'm sorry, the Chromie damage dropped onto Hammer. There's the Varian charge, but the shotgun away keeps Hammer very safe. They do have a Chromie vision on the turn-in, so Ackbar won't be able to get a cheap turn-in as long as that vision is there. And you can see, though, these double lanes really being controlled by Zool. The Tigers, I think, really need to try to do their best to pick Zool off here, and they can't let them hold on to that vision and simply let him soak so safely. So the early going right now, the map control style is favoring Admiral Ackbar. Butcher doing his best to farm stacks like I suggested they do. There's the power slide and the face melt from ETC. As you can see, since the change to Varian, Shield Wall has become significantly more common instead of the Warbringer, and you see it on the Varian there. It just allows himself to get into trouble and get out of trouble very easily. So in the top lane, Zarya and Butcher are matching ETC, and they're doing everything they can to get Butcher as many stacks as possible. Butcher will become a monster once he gets that glowing cleaver. So right now, MHS Tigers simply trying to keep it close so they can get their comp together after 10, because both Varian and Butcher are weak in the early game and get stronger as the game goes. So if the Tigers can keep it close, maybe they pull it out in the late game. That might be something that they're able to do. Despite the 10 coins from Admiral Ackbar, they have not been able to turn them in, though. And they don't really seem to have any interest in sending someone up there to do it. Neither team is also prioritizing mercs. I guess from Admiral Ackbar's perspective, since they're winning these lanes anyway, maybe no need to change what they're doing. Looks like they did finally get a little bit aggressive on Zool, but Iron Bank is doing a great job of playing conservatively and safely, knowing how important it is for him to stay alive up there. And the 3 members of the Tigers just cannot respond to 4 members pushing in. As much damage and poke as Chromie is doing, it's just not enough right now. ETC is doing a nice job of soaking up a lot of that damage. And there's the chest, the second chest spawning. Ackbar rotating away. They will only be able to get the bottom this time because Zool is in no position to contest Zarya and Butcher as well. Looks like Chromie has almost got her Q quest done. And there's 9 being dropped off by Admiral Ackbar, and there's the last of the turn-in. The Tigers know this turn-in is here, but they are not contesting it. This is a dangerous spot for Rhaegar. I don't think he quite realizes how much of their team is there, but he does back away. And now a mini invasion here by Admiral Ackbar. ETC going in hard, the power slide. There is Chromie's 2-level higher ultimate. She goes with the slowing sands for zone control, as opposed to the temporal loop for the blow up. Currently, Ackbar doing a nice job of controlling the map. With this turn-in, they will get a little bit of a structural lead, and they will also... Oh, they may have finally gotten to Zool, but no, he is close enough to his home base that he will be in no trouble at all. Really nice job by Iron Bank of safely soaking the experience and allowing his team to just really pressure this bottom lane. Chromie looks like she's about 1 Q away from finishing her level 1 quest, which will increase her poke significantly. This bottom fort is now finally on the verge of falling. No minions to tank it though, so ETC is taking the fort damage. Level 10s finally reached by Admiral Ackbar. They are holding tight to this one. They are determined to get the bottom fort. We have Blunt Force Gun for Hammer and Hinterland's Blast for Falstad. Not seeing a lot of that. Poison Nova for Zool. Bloodlust for Rhaegar. And there's the Mosh Pit by Sergeant Hammer. I'm sorry, by ETC. And there's the Hinterland Blast setup. 3 will probably go down for... Yes, 3 members down for Tigers, and that is not good for them. I'm sorry, Zool is still doing his double soak in the top lane. They just really don't have an answer for the amount of pressure that's being put on them by Admiral Ackbar's comp, and that was my worry in the draft, that they didn't have enough wave clear. The Tigers comp is really built around blowing somebody up, and they just haven't been able to do it. Ackbar's been really good about pressuring the map without going crazy about it, not overstaying their welcome. And they definitely have a structural and about a 1.5 level lead. Even with Zool and Zarya, I think they're going to decide just to try to pin him up in his own base. And Butcher does have his quest now. Great damage done by Poison Nova to drive him away. Don't want to get too greedy there, though, Iron Bank. Big news for Tigers, though. Butcher's quest is done. His cleaver is glowing gold, and that is going to make him much more dangerous. And possibly another turn-in if the Tigers don't contest here. And they do not. Second turn-in of the game by the team Admiral Ackbar, and now they are invading. The Tigers are just have to dance all around the back. Chromie's in trouble, though. She doesn't realize it. There's the Wolf Bite and the slow. Falstad diving in. Bloodlust. There's the Trap and the Root and the Twilight Dream, but Admiral Ackbar does not care. They are driving forward. The body blocks and the face melts by ETC. Zarya is coming on the backside, but she is isolated by herself, and she has to retreat, but now Butcher coming to reinforce as well. A split engagement by the Tigers, and they are in a rough spot. Lost 2 more members in that. And in the meantime, Zool continuing to double soak the lanes. Now a 3-level advantage for Admiral Ackbar. Currently looking grim for the HMS Tigers. It is going to be very difficult for them to push these lanes back out and team fight down 3 levels. Finally, somebody got one of the mercs, though. It really hasn't been too much merking going on, which is a little bit surprising for Blackheart's Bay. Usually you see a ton of merking. Admiral Ackbar has enough coins for their 3rd turn-in, and the Tigers still don't have enough for their 1st. Rhaegar is not with them. I don't think the Tigers realize that, though. But here's the flank from Butcher and Zarya and Varian. They might be able to get something here if they coordinate it. There's the power slide to get away. No follow-up on Varian's charge. Now Hammer is set. He's anchored, and they decide to simply back up here. Didn't want to take a fight there. One of the things about Blackheart's Bay is once you have control of it, like Admiral Ackbar does, it's almost disincentivizes you to team fight. There's just no need to. They have so much pressure on the map. And trying to get their 3rd turn in. Nice poke by Zarya with the energy grenades. And there's the Zarya ult. And there's the Butcher charge with the Furnace Blast. This is what the Tigers needed. Sergeant Hammer gets obliterated. However, Poison Nova does so much damage. There's the Hinterland's Black picking off Butcher and Mouth and Zarya. A great engagement for the Tigers. However, a clumped up Poison Nova just absolutely wrecked all of Red's health bars. Hinterland's Blast followed up, and a 3-for-1 team fight win. Despite the early death of Sergeant Hammer in that team fight. They did not, however, complete the turn-in, they being Admiral Ackbar. So that is a small victory for the Tigers in that they kept Admiral Ackbar from turning in. Both teams kind of moving around the map, feeling out where the other are. They're not sure where anybody is. This kind of waiting game. Oh, Zarya a little far forward, although her team right behind her. The shield's coming. A lot of damage on Zarya. There goes the Butcher charge in with the Furnace Blast. Rhaegar goes down without Bloodlust being used. And Mosh Pit still on cooldown. That's a small win. Poison Nova this time getting very little damage, only on Varian. Admiral Ackbar kind of needs to back up here because they are down a man and fighting a 5-on-4. Don't want to lose all those coins either. Small victory for the Tigers with the Rhaegar picture, but so far haven't been able to take advantage of it. Chromie's Time Trap actually protected ETC, and there comes the BFG to kill Malfurion. However, the Zarya ulti isolated out ETC, and he was killed by the Tigers. I wonder if the Tigers are going to go to boss now. With Butcher, they can burn it down pretty quickly, and it looks like that's what they will do with the Vision, both their tanks up here. Chromie kind of hanging around in the mid. She needs to be careful. She's trying to zone away Admiral Ackbar. I don't think Admiral Ackbar can really invade without ETC, though. That would be pretty tough, although the Tigers also don't have mouth. It would be a 4-on-4. Both teams converging on the boss. Bloodlust is popped. There's Butcher with the Furnace Blast. Really doesn't do any damage. On the backside, Hammer is able to steal the boss. Butcher body blocked in the corner and taken out. A big invasion successful for Admiral Ackbar. And now with the boss pushing in the top lane, the Tigers will have to respond, and I imagine Ackbar will definitely parlay this into their fourth turn-in of the game. I believe is 16, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, their fourth turn-in of the game. The Tigers on the verge of losing their second keep, while all of Admiral Ackbar's forts stand proudly. This is right now Admiral Ackbar's game to lose. Pushing down the bottom lane, Zarya a little far from ETC, not able to get the pick, and Admiral Ackbar will back away, content to go pick up all of these merc camps that are prime for the taking right now. This is what I started to say earlier. When you're ahead on Blackheart's Bay, you don't want to fight. You just want to go grab all the merc camps, keep the pressure on, collect the coins. There's no reason for you ever to fight when you're up in a situation like this. And it puts a lot of pressure on the team that's losing because they have to both keep their core clear of Katas and Mercs, but they have to find Admiral Ackbar and win a team fight and get some of these coins off them. If they allow another turn-in, that will almost definitely be game. So very soon the Tigers are going to have to draw their line in the stand. They cannot let another turn-in go. Currently 1 coin away. This could be a big point for Tigers. Zool is not here, although neither is Butcher, so this would be a 4-on-4. There's Chromie. She throws down the W, does a ton of damage to both Falstad and Hammer, forcing the retreat. A little bit late, though. Admiral Ackbar able to turn in 9 coins, and now they do have enough. Here comes ETC posturing. There's a 3-man mosh pit followed up by Hinterland. There's the damage. Bloodlust going down, able to kill Malfurion. Admiral Ackbar on the verge of victory here, and the Tigers in full retreat. With Katas and Mercs on core, and Admiral Ackbar turning in, this is almost assuredly going to be game point in favor of Admiral Ackbar. Zarya isolated out, power slide, face melt, bone prison. Down she goes. Just have to have Admiral Ackbar go in and put the bow on this game. Barring something miraculous here, the Tigers will fall to 0-2, while Admiral Ackbar will increase their record to 2-2. We're at 25%, 9%, and there it is. Congratulations to Admiral Ackbar, defeating the HMS Tigers, increasing their record to 2-2 here, Division 3 Chair League Season 4. I actually originally had 4 games scheduled for today. However, the game that was scheduled for the 6:20 time slot had to cancel. So we do have a gap between this game and my next 2. So we'll be going off air for about an hour here. The next game we have is at 7 o'clock, I believe. Let me double check that. Yes, next game we have tonight is a Division 1 game at 7 o'clock. The Therapeutic Salamanders versus Nerf Murky. Immediately following that game, with no downtime, will be our final game of the evening, Division 3 Best of 3 Series, Wedge of Destiny versus Unstable. So I'll be back in just over an hour for our last 2 games of the evening. Congratulations to Admiral Ackbar on their victory, and we will see you here in about an hour.